This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social, and I'm delighted to be joined by promoter Frank Warren. Frank, we've just witnessed Billy Joe Saunders become a two-weight world champion. Your thoughts on his victory over Shefat Isufi tonight?
Yeah, he's the only 12th Brit to have done that in boxing, to become a double weight champion. So he's in a very exclusive club, and he done it in style. It was like a continuation of the form and the speed and so forth that he showed against Lemieux.
Did he surprise you how comfortably he seemed to adjust to the new weight?
Yeah, but I knew, it's still he did look well, especially the first half of the fight. But that other fellow was, the fellow was a tough guy. He was tough. I knew it wouldn't be. Everyone think, it's going to be just a complete, few rounds or it's a walkover. I knew he would give it a count of himself. Bill's speed is very difficult for anybody to cope with. His hand speed, his footwork, as David Lemieux found out, and. On that form, he's a very difficult fighter to beat. But the guy still clipped him. He caught him with a good shot. And in fact, I think he done better than Lemieux did, because Lemieux never laid a glove on him. So but it was good for Bill. And as I say, he's got all that ring rust out of his system in a competitive fight. His first one for 19 months. I'm pushing that 8-rounder, which he took the 2 weeks' notice before Christmas, which I included the fight. But you need to get that rust out of his system, and it's now got him in a good position. So we want to keep him busy this year. Another 2 fights before the end of the year, and I'm hoping one of those is going to be a very, very big fight.
What was going through your mind on that little clip that Billy Joe took? Wobble back to the ropes when he just saw the round out, but very calm and relaxed on it.
His back was to me. I see him dip a bit as he got caught, but and then he sort of got backpedaled for the rest of the round. He'd done what he had to do. He's very smart, Bill. He's a very smart boxer. He's a very clever boxer. He's very elusive, very difficult to hit, as I say, and get caught. And he just shows you what a great boxing brain he's got.
He isn't someone who people put power next to his name and mention, but today he seemed to have a lot of power, which maybe surprised a few. Was you maybe a little frustrated he couldn't find the stoppage?
Well, it's a funny thing when they talk about power. I think there were times when he looked like he was getting to the guy, wasn't he? And I thought there was times where, but anyway, he didn't stop him. But as for power, he's got power. When I've seen him. Andy Lee will tell you he's got power. He can punch when he needs, when it's there. I just think in this thing, first of all, he's going up a weight, and I think also that I knew that guy would be tough, but Bill absolutely outclassed him and done what he had to do.
And now the plans, like you said, do turn to his next fight. I know it's early doors yet, but I know how you work, Frank. You'll be thinking in your mind, who's up next? What would you like to realistically put on the table for Billy?
I'd like him in a big fight. We don't want to mess around. We really want to make that happen, and it's been difficult because he's an avoided fighter, and when you watch him fight, you can see why. But we'll work on it, and hopefully we can come up with something.
And to touch on the rest of the card, Joe Joyce with a third-round stoppage victory over Alexander Usmanov. Your thoughts on his performance?
I thought he'd done well. The first round, I think you see he obviously was trying to be a bit elusive and moving side to side. But then once he got into into his groove, he then did what he had to do. He put his shots together. He stopped a tough old guy who's got a lot masses of experience, and only the fight 2 fights ago, gone the distance with Shah for that version of the WBA title. So he done what he had to do. Got rid of him in his 9th pro fight.
We're obviously awaiting news as to who will face on July 13th. I spoke to Sam Jones yesterday, and he said that the likes of Josie Parker, Derek Chisora, Alexander Povetkin have all been offered the fight. Realistically, who do you see him maybe stepping in with next?
I'm not sure yet. We're still working at it, and they have all been offered the fight. So we'll see where we go.
And Brad Foster claiming the Commonwealth title to go alongside his British title as well. How good a performance did he produce tonight?
I thought it was a magnificent performance, considering he never had a single amateur fight. In his 12th fight, he's now British and Commonwealth champion against a seasoned campaigner. And that last round, he did what he had to do, didn't he? Just turned up the gas, and it was a great stoppage. He really did well to do that. He'll get a lot out of that fight. Getting those rounds under his belt. It's all great experience for him, and he's obviously a proper fighting man. You can see that. His experience as a kickboxer. He's obviously done well. He's done extremely well as that and so forth. But the changeover to now boxing, and as I say, never had any amateur experience. He's at 21 years of age. He can go places.
No, I can vouch for Brad's kickboxing, Frank, because you won't know this, but when me and Brad were kids, we actually used to kickbox together. Yeah, about 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, well, there you go. I didn't know that. Yeah, good for you.
Should have signed me up, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
I'm waiting for the offer. Just to touch on that, it's the first time when I've actually been able to visibly see you and how passionate you was when you was watching Brad. What was you saying to him when you stood up and you were trying to, like, obviously G him on, and what instructions were you giving to him when he seemed to be getting the better of Ashley Lane?
I told him to throw the right hand, which is what he clipped him with. You could see that he caught him. He didn't. He just wasn't throwing enough at him, and that was the fight that Ashley was getting caught with the most. And I just said to him, just go and put it on him with the right hand, and he, thankfully, put it on him with the right hand. He done the job.
Should be his trainer now, Frank.
No, they've done a good job on him. They know what they're doing.
And obviously, just to go through the rest of them, Dennis the Menace McCann, impressive first performance on his debut.
Well, he's had 17 amateur fights, 17 knockouts, I believe, and that was a sensational debut for a young man. I think he's 19, just turned 19, so he's going to go places. He loves it. He enjoys it. He reminds me a little bit of, the way looking at me. He reminded a little bit of Naz, that the spitefulness, as throwing his punches and that. Now I like him, and I think he's going to be a little bit special.
On the other side of the coin, unfortunately, defeats for Boy Jones Jr. and Harley Ben. What were your thoughts on their defeats?
I didn't see either of the fights because we were doing links outside, so. It's a shame for him, it's a shame, but that's boxing. That's what it is. I have to look. I haven't looked at the fight yet, so I can't really comment on it. But I'm disappointed for him.
Obviously, your attention turns to Fury Schwartz. Excited to get out there for that one now?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the fight. I think it's going to be a great fight for everybody. And I think, again, it's a bit like Bill. Everyone wants to overlook all these things are going to be so easy. He's 24-0, and he's not coming to roll over. I think Tyson's going to have a fight on his hands now.
Also waiting on this announcement for Yard Cover there, Frank. You said to me on Friday.
Yeah, well, it's going to be announced on Monday.
Okay.
We can't announce it. It's up to the the Russian promoters, so they'll announce all the details on Monday.
And finally, a word on putting on a show here at Stevenage Football Club.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was great. I mean, we were a little bit worried for a couple of days whether it was going to rain or not, but the rain held off. It turned a bit chilly at the end, but it's amazing, isn't it? All that great weather we had a few weeks ago. But yeah, it was good. The fans turned out for him. They turned out for the local hero, King of Hearts. They all showed out for him. So that was great. And I just, we'll come back here again. Nothing stops us doing a couple of fights a year in the summer.
Well, Frank Warren, I appreciate your time as always. I'll see you soon. Thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you, young man. Cheers, Andy.